So in early 2000s, and I've been told that there are two features that were supposed to be on the plant level that are not on it. And one, the most important one, the clarifier would basically take out the vast majority of the solids before we have to start talking, because that way you would reroute it. Because it's not designed, they have to keep wasting. First of all, okay, the solid. Well, let's get started. About ready to start. All right, 6 o'clock. Call order.
You said call to order.
Yeah, roll call.
Okay, Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
Schaffner.
Also in attendance, we've got our chief of police, our police officer, our Phillips, and looks like we've got some visitors.
Follow the agenda.
Yeah, we'll do I looked them over, everything looked good to me, so I make a motion we approve the minutes as written. All right, we got a motion for approval of the minutes. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So we can go to visitors if anybody wants to address the service committee. Roll right on. So goals for 2024, we have the 5-year plan. We're working on streets, wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, I. Each of the different departments have their projects for this year that they're proceeding on based on what the budget will allow. Anybody have any questions on the 5-year plan or anything? Village reports.
Tim, I guess I'll ask you what you think, how you think the water project on Washington Street is going.
We haven't had very nice snafu, so we're into a storm line there at the intersection of Basel and Washington, and we're going to have to dig that up and find that. And I think we directed a little bit, but other than that, they should have a water line to High Street tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get some access. Also, we get a line tied on in the block from Boston. And I think we only have like 2 services after that. Everything else is straight down going out there. So good.
I had Connie prepare their little thing, so you to look at, and Eli's here in case you have any questions. So Eli's right here. he snuck in.
Eli, I guess, do you have anything that you'd like to?
I can just give you guys like a quick thing that's been going on the wastewater plan. Just real quick, just some updates.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to pass that around. Just what's happened in the last couple of weeks, a month or whatever. We had 2 isolation gates that were repaired and installed for the membrane cleaning. Street department and water department all pitched in and helped us with that. So now we're able to isolate the membranes when we clean them, instead of taking 2 out of service and leaving 2 in service, which in turn makes us bypass. So that's a good thing. We got to install like 4 new flow meters from our rural water. They're going to do all the analyzing of the data. And with them and the lower 48 meters that we have in, we should have the whole town flow meters by the end of 2025. So we should be able to have I&I. So that's a good thing for us because the EPA is on us. So that's the next thing is EPA are new permits, and they asked for some follow-up questions or had some answers. And this is what I provided them from what I know. just from being here since July and talking to Tim and a couple of, and Scott and to see what was happening. You guys have anything to add? That would be great. I have a Teams meeting with EPA on Wednesday with myself, V3, and Allison Gooch and Carla Wisner, which is our EPA representative. So, with that. I mean, if you want, I can send you the team's request and you can jump to one if you want to.
I might do that.
Okay.
Just if you got time to do that.
I don't know, did you guys get the flows from last month? Did you guys already get this? All right, so on the bottom, it had 2 EPA recordable bypasses in February. You gonna get this one? So you might have to make a copy because I didn't make a copy. Let's pass it around. So that wasn't due to high flow zone. That was due to cleaning those membranes.
Right.
So when you're not able to isolate one at a time, you have to take 2 offline. So taking 2 offline, you can't, the facility won't operate with 2 of them online by themselves. So that's why. And in our permit, we're allowed to do this. We can take it offline and go to bypass. I have that.
Is that
The new gates will allow you to do it without doing it, right?
Yes. Yep.
We won't
So
have
at
to
least
do that
3 of
again.
them. So, and then another picture, and Tim could attest to this, these gates were completely messed up. So the first page that you see are what the gates are kind of look like. If you look at the top one, you just pass it around. And then when you go to the second page, you'll see how ate up some of these gates were, and they're supposed to be stainless steel. And out of the 3 out of 4, or 3 out of 4 were good. The last one was terrible. So we still have to, we have to do a replacement on that one.
So is that because we let them go, or is that because just that's how it
That's
goes?
just how it was. It was just terrible. I mean, I had 3 out of 4 were completely great. And then we get to that last one, and it's just ate up.
It needs the frame replaced as
The whole thing. Yep. So there is a company here that does those gates. It's based out of Cincinnati. So looking into that. That's it. You guys have received that, our 5-year to 10-year outlook. Also, I'll pass this around. We did a cleaning. This will be 1 day. This is a 24-hour chlorine clean and a 2-day acid clean. And once we got done with that, they should be clean. And then when we open these membranes up, this is what we found on the inside. Complete sludge and stuff that you can't find. Now on the second page, it just kind of shows you some of the things that we pulled out of those membranes. You know, with the rags, corn cobs, we get that, and a bunch of sludge that was still in there. So we're not able to remove that no matter what we do. So just keep in mind that we're doing our best as far as trying to clean these and keep them going, but
Things are gonna happen.
things are going to happen, and we're just not getting it to where. So if you guys want to look at that, that's what we're finding inside. I do have, Wade came by the other day, and I have them on just not on display, but they're in baggies, each individual thing that I have on that page, so you can come by.
They just come through.
Yeah, it's just our screener is outdated. It's from 1985. They decided that that was good enough when they were putting this system in. Yeah, that's all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or come by or do whatever. We'll be able to help you out as best we can. It's a little loud over there, but
The one question, I know we spoke about this when I went to the plant. MassI is sending some of those samples out to a lab in New England to test for that compound that's common in pulp production. It acts like a wood glue. And I can't remember the turnaround. It's a few months, right? Because of the back.
it'll be a couple months, the 28-day hold time. So what I'm thinking is we take 5 influent, 5 membrane samples, and 5 effluent for linguine, and we send it off to them and see the results that we get back. Because the way it stands now, we're treating it with the bacteria. We treat it with bacteria and grief or griff, I'm not sure how you say it, are also supposed to be adding bacteria over there before it comes to us to get rid of this linguine.
Curiosity question, how much one of those gates cost?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You'll see it on your desk too. Just so
Because I'm telling you, that gate is closed, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean.
Did we
gotta
just
keep
buy
up with
one?
that.
Did we just buy a gate?
You can't buy it, yeah. We have to replace the whole thing.
I know, but didn't we just buy some not too long ago? Or a gate?
Stems.
Oh, the
Stems, just the stems that make the gate go up and down are about $1,000.
Okay, okay.
Right. So this is probably gonna be 15 or 20,000 probably.
Like a screw type,
Yeah.
and they were bent to
How they were.
smithereens.
Somebody got overexcited. I don't know who worked here before me, but they were strong.
Yeah.
They've been stainless steel, so.
That gate's hosed, though, even that's obvious.
I mean, the outer portion where it slides up and down wasn't even there anymore, so it just kept leaking through. So it's really hard to get a good clean when you don't have clean water.
I mean, that's the only way we're gonna get this under control. I mean, by replacing it a little bit at a time. I'm assuming.
I mean, it's time consuming for one, but if you can do this, once a month, you can get one, it's great. But when you have to take 2 under service at a time, it makes it really difficult. So
Thank you.
that's all I got.
Yeah.
All right.
Scott's here if you have any questions for Scott.
Scott, I just had a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
Have we had any luck with doing any more meetings?
Yeah, we got a couple in, but it's still.
I know you're busy with a bunch of other stuff. I
It's a
know
business
that.
process. We're at the point where it's just getting difficult to get inside some of these houses.
I got you. Just if you can do the best you can to get those replaced, as long as we got them sitting on the shelf. I don't want them sitting on the shelf and then
Yeah,
2 years later.
I don't know. We'll be there.
Okay.
Be ordering
All right.
some more here soon.
That's cool. That was my only question I had. I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
All right.
Any updates on the well?
No, we had National Water out last week, at the end of last week. They got us on their schedule. He hasn't scheduled me a date yet. He said he's got a lot of stuff due this summer, so he's gonna get us on there. It'll be this summer, probably when we start. What he said was it'll be cheaper to get the other one done while they're on site instead of paying them to do one, then they leave and then they come back. So that's what we're looking at.
So you're saying when you get the other one, what do you mean? Like,
So there's wells 4 and 5 that need to get cleaned.
refurbished, basically.
Correct, yeah.
And that's it, just doing both while they're there.
Yeah, they're gonna camera it and have to pull the pump and stick the camera down there and brush them.
Or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, I just know they're relatively new compared to what we use. We're going to be able to put those back in action.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Seems to me, a little nerve wracking not to have a little bit of redundancy when it comes to your water source.
I mean, yeah. Well, I want a lot more redundancy than what we got now,
I think we need it.
even with those 2 running.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's not like you and I were, I guess, given.
We didn't hand you operating.
Yeah, we didn't give you a up-to-date perfect situation, and we appreciate I should say, but that's for sure. So,
All right.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Tim, one other question, and you probably Holder Road. Where are we at with that?
Jeff will be able to tell you more.
Okay.
We're waiting on 2.
It's still 2 easements. We're
2
waiting on.
easements still. Okay.
The Spencers and the road.
I thought you said you had Spencer.
No, they're holding out for.
Yeah, Spencer.
They're not really holding out. They had questions.
Yeah, and I realigned that, and, cause it's gonna go on the property now, so they're just doing paperwork. Roach is just hard to get a hold of. Steve was gonna try to get a hold of Roach, but the number he has didn't work.
Well, Steve and.
His home phone, it worked before, but it's cut off. He's probably just cell phone.
Roger's trying to get a hold of him too, so. All right.
The other way would be stopping by.
And my only thing, we're talking about the east side is, I don't know why they didn't think about it, but we need to get an easement from Roger. Or you can't get back up with it. Is that correct?
You can. It's gonna be kind of miserable.
And where if you get a truck in there, you're gonna have some
They're
difficulty.
looking at Hannah's basically to go in and out of that.
I'm sure we could get him to do that.
Oh, absolutely, he will sign, all you gotta do is do paperwork. So I was gonna
Hannah's already-
give this to FACO.
Okay, yeah.
What, Roger?
Well, Roger
Roger.
does the
Oh,
easement.
Absolutely,
He will?
he will
Okay.
sign.
I'm saying, we already got Hannah's back.
Well, but not to come in from the front to get all the way.
Oh,
back.
okay.
So it's getting to it that's the issue, and if we have Rogers easement, we can get it back in there, no problem, but absent that, you need to go in through Hannah's whole yard.
Yeah, it'd be better.
So it'd be better to come in through Roger, I mean, not to say that going through Hannah is a problem, but,
I
Well,
got you.
but then
but
you've
it could be
got-
by the next owner or the next owner or the
Right.
next owner, we're not worried about Hannah.
Right, just get an easement from Roger
Roger.
and it's done.
So
Yes.
you have
So I'm gonna
to do
give
that.
that to him.
Okay.
We've got a cost associated with that now too. So I think it was
$25.
21 to, for the labor to install. And about 36 or 700 for the pipe, which I priced our pipe supplier, which would be Core Main. It was 1350 and this was like 6 1/4 a foot. It's quite a difference. I mean, it's like half price.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
34?
10, 12 double wall. 15 inch, yeah. Coming out of that long tile with that long. But anyway, so we would have probably just a hair under 25,000.
We're gonna figure that out.
Started as soon as get the easement signed.
Satisfied for that in the budget? Fix that? Then I guess as soon as we get the easement signed, I'll talk to Jeff about that. We should get started on it right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's well below bid.
Okay,
So
yeah,
We shouldn't have any problems.
All right.
going forward with
okay.
All right.
Sorry, Wayne. I just want to get that stuff out of
that.
the way.
Parks Direct, board, anything?
I don't think they're meeting again till next year. They have their 2 meetings, so.
Yeah.
And then,
Do they have any?
did everybody pay their fees?
Yes, they paid their fees, last year and this year, yes. And we've got insurance from everybody, and, I think we're good to go on everything there.
So, we'll move on to BDRC. Does BDRC have anything for us? Service?
No, I know that final bid came in for the windows. I believe that was signed off, Steve got the information. I think
I signed the paperwork and sent it up to Rosati's and tabulated the PO.
Okay, so.
All we're waiting on now is them to install it and send me a bill there.
Awesome, great.
I think we're wanting to come in,
Phase 2.
that's for phase 2, huh? But phase 3, I think I heard the girl say that someone from Rosati's called today wanting access for measurements on something. Was that for the windows for next year?
Did she get a hold of Steve? For the,
Well,
next year's already?
That's why I'm asking. I don't know. They were asking about measuring windows.
I mean, they were in here just about a month ago. And to take measurements.
Well, we just told them to come in, we'd get them in there.
Okay.
So,
That'll work.
Moving on, old business, we already spoke about the east side drainage
And the water meters.
and water meters, so we can move on to new business. We have, cemeteries.
Yeah.
There's an ordinance for,
well, no, this was brought up in an email. We have a second reading tonight on the ordinance on 2024-04 about the family.
Yes.
It's been brought to my attention, there's a little conflict. If I give you guys a copy of this, and I highlighted the section on what the weekday hours are defined Monday through Friday, before 3:30 PM, and then anything after 3:30, we charge the overtime rate. But our team works from 6 to 2:30, so that's a little conflict, so I don't know if this is something you guys want to.
We should probably change it to, wait till Jeff, we should need to change it to 2:30, so.
And that's why I'm bringing this up, because, I mean, since it's a second reading,
Yeah.
you can modify
Yeah.
the current existing, I believe so.
yeah, before it's adopted.
That's why it's on the agenda.
Yeah, okay. Interesting, nice. Any other
And if
discussion?
there's anything else you might have saw in there that needs changed,
Well,
Might as well bring it up now.
the price was good. I think we all agreed on how much it was, but I think if these guys work till 2:30, then that's when you stop. You can't expect them. So. Okay. That's okay. I mean, that's at the podium.
That's why that's what that's about. So
Yes.
that's okay.
So that'll go, that goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it to your attention because it's up for a second reading.
Yes, and we'll bring that up when we get to the second reading.
Yes.
The next thing on the agenda for new business is unpaid utility bill.
Okay, it's back here. Missy has graciously handed me. These go back to 2021, 2022. We have unpaid bills where people have sold their homes, moved out, we applied a deposit. They give us their forwarding address. We keep invoicing them, and no payments. So, you know, they're getting we know they're getting their bills because they give us $1,454.97.
We're just putting good money after bad. If I send them.
We keep sending the bills, and this is, like I said, now the first one here is property that we bought at Johnson Park, the first one.
Obviously.
So, I just want direction as to what council wants me to do. If you think it's a moot point trying to keep going, because we're talking 2019 here to 2020.
How much is the one that we owe? Write that one off and tell us how much.
That's $146.30.
So you just dropped it by 5%.
So I guess, what does council want me to do? I mean, we've been sending bills and bills, and the people obviously getting them throwing away.
All of those, the properties have sold, and the person who owns it now isn't the person that owns it.
That's correct. I can't go back.
We are unable to put any kind of liens on the properties. That
That's
we get
correct.
paid at closing when they sell.
Well, this was,
I mean, it's too late on
it's
those.
too late on
In the
those. And
In the future.
in the future, we do.
Okay, so why did we miss these? Because we should have been paid at closing.
That was.
You're right. You're right. And that was what Terry was working on back then too. Where there was a policy where the realty companies would call in and ask if there was anything, so they would know. That's hasn't happened.
I think if we can
Some of these probably
confirm-
just slipped through the cracks.
I think if we can confirm that the current property owner isn't the person who owes this bill, we should write them on.
Well, that's what I'm here for because
we
we already know that.
should avoid this situation in the future and not let the
Like
house
the lien.
close
Yeah.
until we get paid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every year I ask, is there anything out there you need me to assess on taxes? And all the realtor companies know when Terry was here that they're supposed to call in to see if there's anything supposed to, but
That's hard.
that's hard.
I mean, Missy's the one who knows, so
Mhm.
Missy's the one who should probably be telling us there's an unpaid bill on the house for sale.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we didn't discover this. Well, a lot of these, they just up and sold the house. We didn't know until after they sold.
Can we not have a policy that the water doesn't get turned on until the debt is clear? Other villages do that. I know Pleasant.
But if they sell it-
But if you sell a house to the new, you can't do that to the new owner.
You can't. Well, they.
We can.
I'm not sure you should.
I don't think you can. I don't think.
I don't
Because the
think
money
that'd
should have
be
been taken from the previous owner at closing instead of the new owner being
Yeah.
responsible.
That's correct. These are just these are just a few of those. These are the last few. The rest of them, they just slipped through the cracks. So.
I mean, I'm getting ready to buy a property and I came in and asked Missy if there was any outstanding water bill on it before I bought it. I'm sure somebody from out of town isn't savvy enough to do that.
No, right.
But yeah, I don't know how we're letting these things sell without catching it.
Well, they go back to 19, you say.
Some of these go back to like 2019, 2018,
Yeah.
2022. That's the
We're
latest.
sure all of those
Yes.
people don't still own the house.
Yes. All right. I'll Missy know to write them off and.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
Huh? Yeah, but that was for specific situations.
So do we need to make a motion that need to go to council?
You know what? Yeah, that'd be good to have someone make a motion to authorize the. Write these.
Motion that if the current owner doesn't still, if the person who owes those bills don't still own the property, that we should write those off.
In the future.
And in the future, not allow that to happen again.
Well,
Right.
that's the key.
Next, we have a to write up those water bills. Properly made, properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Who seconded it?
Who seconded it? Deb, didn't you
Well, I
second
started to. I never done that.
Don't say I didn't hear a second.
it? All right, so,
Shelters.
Okay.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is the youth soccer.
Yeah, I got a phone call last week from, as soon as I find my notes here. Chris Upperman with youth soccer.
Okay.
He said every year at the end of the season, they have Kona Ice comes out there and they purchase things for the kids. Well, I guess Kona Ice wants to come out there more often, and I didn't know if I said I would ask before I say yay or nay on this. I mean, there is.
Up to them guys, but they have a concession out there to make money off of. I would think that go bring in food trucks out there. I just be like having a food
Slippery
truck.
slope.
It's a slippery slope.
Okay,
I just say
I told him and asked. That's why I'm asking.
But that's not up to me. I'm sorry, if there's a discussion, discuss it. I didn't mean.
It's
I mean-
currently not allowed. It would take permission to let it
It
happen.
would take permission. They have to fill out a
So we
permit.
don't really need to do anything other than stick with the status quo, which is you can't set up a business inside a park.
Okay.
Now, if baseball's paying them to come out there and give it to the kids for free.
Yeah, or if soccer was.
Well, that's I mean, that's what youth soccer, they have them come out and they give it to the kids, and the youth soccer pays for anything.
Right.
On
that's
that.
a different
That's a
scenario.
different scenario.
Right. So, yeah, if they're gonna set up and start selling to the public, that's already prohibited. And we don't need to take action on that.
No,
other than
I was just-
leave it as it is.
I told him I'd bring it up at service.
Okay. So, anything else to come before the service committee when we close in? Pretty much covered everything on the agenda. So youth soccer was the Kona Ice thing?
Yes.
Okay. And next meeting? Yeah, next meeting will be, fourth Monday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. Motion to adjourn. Former makes a motion to adjourn. Second.
Shelter, second.
All in favor, aye. Aye. We're adjourned. 6:26.
We'll just go to the next meeting.
I read everything was like, this is not. Just trying to print out the agenda, things for me, for, rules, and then for council.
Yeah, you're right.
This is done this week,
Randy.
safety, I'm sorry,
It says rules here.
Pardon?
Turn it off.
No, it's been turned off,
This is
and I had
another
it plugged in all night, because I read everything.
We're at
last
safety.
night.
Here,
He's doing the same thing.
here. Hey, it's only 2 pages. It's just
It's not you, it's Brian.
Randy.
It's actually safety. It says rules meeting documents, when you click on it, it says safety. I was like, rules is.
I just have to have that.
Anybody here?
I'm how to get hold of him.
Sure they're there by now.
I would like to think so, but still would like to get his numbers.
Yes.
Okay. Whenever we're ready. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna stay? Oh, okay.
Thanks, guys.
I see how it is.
We'll call it the order.
Okay,
And we'll do the roll call.
all right. Phillips,
Here.
McCreary,
Here.
and Reedy.
Also in attendance, the mayor, police chief, other council members, all here. And we got a few visitors for that. Approve the minutes for February 26, 2024.
I read them again, they seem to be okay, and I make a motion to approve them.
McCrary seconds that.
Motion carried. Any visitors who would like to address the safety committee?
I don't know if this is the same. No, like my issue. What I talked to Rick about.
It would be, yes. Yes. If you want to come up, yes, it would be.
Okay. So, I'm Tabitha McCarthy. A lot of you already know me. And I have pictures if you want to see them. I live at the corner of 256 and Porter Road. So if you just like, tap it, goes to the next thing. So there have been a lot of accidents on my corner and they're all heading towards 37. And they're all in my yard, which I don't care about my yard.
Yes, you do. You don't, your husband.
Yeah, you live down the street. So the grass can be repaired. The problem is that a few years ago, a lady 2 doors down from us, I think it was a health thing, and she hit the pine tree. There's a picture in there, and she died. So in the last 3 months, just on it's March, right? Yeah, it's almost April. There's been 3 accidents. 2 of them were in my yard, and then one happened 3 nights ago. My husband heard it. Was walking the dog, and it was in Lois Wiley's yard. So everyone comes down. They're heading this way, and they're just flying because the speed limit, a couple houses down for me, then gets it goes up. So they start speeding. They come around the corner. They don't realize the corner, and it's not even a sharp corner. They ended up in her yard. One time they ended up. I think it was in January, ended up there was a high school kid pulling out. He did not see the woman coming. She swerved to get out of the way, took out the pole, and there's a picture of how close it is to my house. Like, it was scary close to the house.
That's the last one that we had replaced.
That's the pole that got hit, but then it got hit again before it got replaced.
Okay.
So the lady then God was okay. She pulled out her flip phone. She was like, I don't know, but it was scary. I mean, the high school kid, he really did not see her because when you're on that corner, there's a sign that's low that kind of blocks. It's like I don't know, a cleanup sign or I don't know what sign it is.
Yeah, green one.
So yeah, there's a green one
That's right. How about pulling out in front of the car?
right, and so that's a safety concern to me. But the rest of them have come down. So then there's one right after that. I came and talked to Rick and Red because you guys were here about the pole getting replaced because it's starting to splinter halfway up, and pieces of it were coming into the yard, which is fine. But there's the girls live next to me. They always walk, down the road in front of me, which I don't like, but that's their only way to get in town because they walk to other practices. So then at 8:15 in the morning, one morning, another car came around the corner, hit the pole. It must have flipped up because there are tire tracks on both sides of the pole that completely uprooted, broke it. It was tilted. No car, nobody ever stops. And there were not even any car parts for this one, but they did replace it within a couple of days because then I sent you a message saying it just got hit again. But this car just kept going, and it's like January, February, March. What's the next problem? So I guess I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that we've got it's happening over and over.
I guess my question to you is, what would you?
I don't know. I don't know if we can put make it a 4-way stop. Can we? And outside of ACE and outside of the school, they've got the thing that says your speed limit. Could we put that where Wiley's house is, get people to slow down? Which after a while they're going to ignore it. I don't know what can be done. I guess I'm coming not with a solution, but to ask what can we do. Because I've lived here for 12 years, and there's one accident that's not even on here. They went down the whole side. They went down the whole side of the yard, ended up across the street, took out up to their porch. I don't know if they're drunk drivers, but they all seem to take off.
And they do it. Nobody'd ever run from us.
Right.
No drugs and never
All of them have, I have called the police. They've come out. I think you came out once, but it just seems like it's getting more and more dangerous, and happening 3 times just in 2024 kind of makes me leery sitting in my living room.
Looking at where this is, would it stand to make sense for there to be a guardrail put on that curve?
Yeah, state, that's probably a state, that's my guess, because it's a state route. So
But if, with that number of accidents, if that information was shared with the state, I wonder if that would be a possibility, because looking at this, I mean,
It's not a today solution,
Yeah.
but it's to
problems.
me, the more aesthetic solution would be a half a dozen trees.
But those take time to grow.
Right. No, they can be
And my
put
husband
in
likes to cut down trees.
4
and
inches or
have
so,
seed.
but aesthetically, that would seem a lot
Right.
more acceptable to the property owner than a guardrail.
Right, right. At this point, like I said, I don't care about property unless it's in my house.
Right.
The one that hit the pine tree and
Yeah, that
stopped,
one, right there.
that one would have gone straight to my kitchen when my daughter was working on her homework.
Mhm.
But that was a medical emergency. They believe that she passed out at the wheel. She shouldn't have been driving and she did die. That was 2 doors down Waits.
Yeah.
So, and on this map, it's right here. It's right where this corner is.
So it's,
And I talked to Lois, she's no longer alive, but I still call it Lois's property. I talked to her daughters and they said, way back when it used to be a fork in the road, so they changed it to make it more safe. We got more cars, we're having more accidents.
oh, Wiley's live.
Right, right.
Well, I think that,
It's not gonna become a four-wheel stop. It's a state route.
yeah, it's a state route.
And the state's gonna weigh in on guardrails or other traffic control, but they don't weigh in on trees. So I don't know what else you could put there to protect your property or.
Quite substantial though.
Yeah,
to
that's
Take some of
what
those
it
hits.
Well,
I mean,
I
But technically, if it's not our property, the very edge, it's the village's property.
Yeah.
Because there are some trees, like where my front door is, there's a tree right there that the village marked to cut down. And they told us that was village property, the very edge. So,
white picket fence, I mean, I'm just.
The state will have a easement and right of way all the way to where the telephone poles are. So they're not gonna put anything like between the road and that, you know what I mean? So it would be, yeah, it would be.
because I just wanted it to be.
Yeah, no,
That was
100%. I
bad.
want you to, that's, yeah.
And when I talked to you, and then 2 more things happened, it's like, I just talked to him.
I know.
I guess I just want it to be a discussion. I'm not
Yeah.
asking for a
No,
solution right now.
that's why we're here.
That's
Stay on our radar, that's,
Yeah.
right, those pictures really help, and
Yeah.
then kind of that timeline.
Right.
But I think absolutely, there are things that we need
But I
to
don't
talk
know.
about what some of the possible solutions would be. I even think about a white picket fence or something that would be substantial.
But that would be on
Absolutely.
our expense.
Well, I'm throwing this out. All we can do is brainstorm right now.
Right.
What the options could be.
And I don't know if
Do you
they're,
believe it's just the people on 256, or do you believe it's the people on?
I think they're coming down to 56, and that's going to get
Yeah.
the high school kid who was coming out, I think he just couldn't see her like the sign that, I mean, you guys live on the road, you know what it's like, right?
That was the Live View sign to pick up trash.
Yeah, it was something like
So does
that.
that block?
You don't
the
even
view?
have that.
I believe it
Do you have a
does.
picture of that? Is that in any of the pictures?
I don't think it's on any of the pictures.
So you think removing that sign would be?
That might help with people turning left, but I think, and everything's happening in the middle of the night, so, and they're not staying, so it just makes you think they're not really
Is there a
on their
curb
best.
there now?
There is a curb, but it's not painted. So maybe, but at night, would they see that? Would they see the curb, where the sidewalk is, which is like right on the road, which I love the sidewalk, and we don't get rid of that. But could that curb in front of Wiley's be painted, and then the one around,
Yeah, anything close to the intersection should be painted yellow anyway.
right, it's so faded, and across the street from me, they have a 2-year-old. Nothing ever happens on that side of the street. It's always on our corner, and that's why I'm thinking,
It's because they're not paying
That's it, right
attention, they
there.
go off the side when they don't see the curb.
well, and they're speeding because the speed limit changes. So I know that speed limits can't be changed. I know that those 2 things outside of Ace and the school, don't take away from the school. I want slow driving there, but
Yeah, and most of the time we have residents that are coming into town to try to get them to slow down, others are going out.
yeah.
We have,
I just wanted to suggest something maybe. You're talking about outgoing traffic. What about a sign, the arrow? And it wouldn't have to be real high, but
And that wouldn't be nothing like a guardrail, but if you had arrows and a sign prior to that, saying sharp turn, you know how it is on roads, and the lights hit it and you go.
Like right where
They're
Riley's
good.
yard
You go
is,
stop it.
that's where something needs to be to kind of say a curve is coming out.
Like the little arrows, like 2 or 3 of them that point. That there's a
Right.
curve coming.
Here's that green sign you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I can see it's right at that window height.
Right, and we always make sure our pine tree is cut so that
Yeah, no, I
you
know.
can see. No, it's
Because this is across the street from you. The sign I'm assuming you're talking.
You live in the yellow house?
It's
I
right
live in
here.
a yellow
It's
house.
so your house is
Yes,
over here.
that's the
It's
sign.
that.
And that's been hit a couple times too, just by people turning
It's
right.
right on the pole essentially, but it's at window height.
Yes.
I mean, I can see exactly what.
So off the cuff, off the cuff, I mean, we need to look at maybe painting the curves again. Maybe some curve, like some kind of curved sign. That's a great idea.
Reflectors?
Yeah,
I
reflective
think
signs.
at night,
Yes.
yes.
Reflectors would help.
The glow in the dark paint they have.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe remove the sign that you're talking, I don't know where that sign is.
It's right here.
There's a sign that's right on the corner of Wiley's. But it's one of
Look
those.
at it. Yeah, I'm a visual, I gotta go physically look at it. So that's no problem. And then here's what I'll tell you, the next couple of weeks, we'll take our street guy out there and we'll look at it and see what we can do.
That's all I asked.
Yeah, I
And we
mean,
still don't have a holder sign. That wasn't replaced since
I think that.
the accident from 2020.
Timmy, you asked me about that. right?
Yeah, we have a no truck sign now, but we don't have a holder road sign,
Okay.
which GPS tells everything, but
I got you.
What do you think, Brent? The arrow signs are probably the best thing as you're going out. Like Rick was saying, like 3 of them,
Yeah. And they're reflective at night.
Yeah, and they're only about this wide and that
Right.
big, and they just got the black, you know what I mean, in yellow. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those would probably be
The state
probably the
That's
best.
what
the form state thing, I think.
Possibly.
They seem to put, they moved the line in the middle of Maine without.
And they moved on that pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
That didn't
We
take
talked
that
to
long.
about like, what if I went out here to the barns or something, found some, probably better contact.
I-
There is, but I got a pretty good relationship with the guys out there at the farm. They're in my backyard.
well, and
It's
there's,
probably a good start. They
Yeah.
get you to the right guy right away versus calling a number and getting passed around from person to person.
I think it was Chief that made the contact last time. Because
Yeah.
not all the.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, everything's in the police reports if ODOT needs,
I
proof.
think if we just tell them there's been that many incidents.
I don't have to tell you this, but if it's late at night,
Well, like I said, I'm not saying where I think they're coming from, but you never know. It's coming around the corner.
Well, I know we gotta get some stuff done.
Right.
We will.
And the one was a medical emergency. The one was a high school kid, I don't know if he was paying attention, but he couldn't see, but 3 of them have been obvious if they don't even stop and say.
Yeah.
Oops.
They're probably.
Yeah.
I'd say
So,
we'll look into that too. I got a note. All right.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
you're gonna do that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take Tim over there. And
I guess, do you want this
we
on,
can take that sign down and maybe paint the curve. It can't be that big.
you want me to add it to the agenda?
Yes.
This is, Whole road.
Yes. Yes, I do. All right, I'm sorry, Gar.
No.
We're moving on.
I've lost.
You're at, goals.
The goal. Oh, 0 workplace accidents, 2024 goals, 0 fatal accidents, 2024.
And I believe we're still 0. Okay.
11.
Reports, village administrator, skip over that until council meeting.
And, you have our report. We'll talk about it again. Council, will you have any questions on anything on there? I can answer this for you. Not today. No, he's not working today. So,
I just want to, you're participating in Easter egg. Who's police gonna be?
I'm actually gonna be in the East Bunny suit.
Good.
Okay. Directing the mayor where he
God.
Yeah.
Old business parking on Heights. We tabled that last time, I believe.
I think someone was supposed to go talk to the minister up there, but I don't think that's happened yet.
I thought we already determined that they want those handicap spaces to remain on High Street, so that's been over and done.
Okay, so this has
The
been resolved.
handicap spaces on High remain.
It's about the angle parking.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's what we talked about, was getting them angle parked instead of straight in.
Yeah.
Or straight parallel.
Okay, so this can be, okay, all right.
We have parking on Mill Street, that'd be North Mill, where the new houses are.
Do you know anything about that? I don't.
Well, I know it's an issue that needs to be, addressed with. The only thing I see from going through there so far is everything's been construction stuff so far. So
It's a chaotic mess.
once that gets settled down, and like they were pouring concrete this past week and stuff, once that all gets settled down, there's gonna be, because now the driveway comes all the way out to the road. And then outside of that.
You're talking about on the curb?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they built the houses, they tore our road all up right there.
Oh,
Just the fact
I
that
think-
they park the house, if you go north on Mill Street,
I know
the
what
one
you're
that you
talking
dead into.
Yes.
When they park there in the street, that is
Yes.
tight coming through there.
I think-
Totally tight. I came down
Like a
yesterday.
dually or something, even truck would
I think-
have trouble. putting
Yes.
it.
I think the last minute said we're waiting on the signs to be put up, so I think that's.
I don't know which signs those are.
I can't remember either.
Well, we'll look into that, but we really needed to wait until that concrete got.
Emergencies. It was no parking during snow emergencies.
I agree.
I'm sure that's what it was. Because that was how this whole conversation.
Because they couldn't get the plow through there.
Oh, they could, you couldn't get down.
But
So
honestly,
that's what it was.
it's probably gonna turn into something more than that, just because like I said, when I came down through there just today, I was like,
Yeah.
man, I mean, I'm squeezing way over almost on the curb. I was coming down.
Yeah,
I was coming down Mill and I
Absolutely.
could
might
barely
need to be
fill in
changed.
there.
I just remember that's how the whole
No, I
conversation.
agree with that. That was.
Because they're parked going up the hill.
Well,
and then
no,
they're
they were,
parked on,
well, they're
I'm
parked
seeing-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. They're parked, I mean, they're
I went down
literally.
it last night about 6 o'clock and I was just like, what a mess.
So maybe like signs, no parking. from
Well,
here to-
it might just end up no parking out on the street, period, and.
Because they all have off-street parking on those houses.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I just know some of those driveways are very
Yes.
tight.
right.
And they're already, their rear of the car is already out in the street.
You know, at some point, when someone builds a house like that and just builds it just so it fits,
Right.
well, that doesn't allow,
That's called
You-
poor planning.
that doesn't allow, that's like, well, you can just park on the street because you don't have to, like, hey, I don't know what to tell you, park in your garage,
I know,
park somewhere else, but you can't block the street with your car.
Right.
I mean, you just can't park here.
And they're parked over the sidewalk. I mean,
Yes.
there's no.
There's no rhyme or reason to it. Yes.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better, just because when the construction stuff's all done and it's all like, we can finally see where the road is again and where everything is, we'll make some determinations, but right now it's just still kind of.
So we
So
will.
how long do you think we should let that go?
Well, I would say by the end of the week, it probably, that those
It'll be
forms should be out.
We should
and
be
it
talking about this at the next
The other thing that probably should be checked is making sure that apron and stuff for that house doesn't encroach onto the right of way.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
Pretty much always do that.
well, not only the street right away.
I guess what I'm asking is, do we order the no parking, do we decide if we're gonna do the no parking at all? Do we decide if we're gonna, do we do it now so we can get the signs ordered, or do we wait one more month?
I would wait one more month only
Well-
because we have to let the construction get done to see where we're at.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody to just drive up there. 'Cause I did
Oh, I would.
yesterday. And it's, and the sad thing is we can't even pave that street until the water line, he's got water breaks all down through there. So that's, but where they built those houses, where every one of those aprons is, the asphalt's, the street is just tore up from having
Right.
those trucks and stuff. Just it was poor planning on the builder's part. in my opinion. Yes.
Yeah. Well. Team member. Parking on Fossil.
This should have been tabled. This was supposed to be tabled. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, because you were gonna talk, you wanted it tabled last month.
Yes.
Yes.
Fossil Street table.
Yes.
Basel Street's tabled.
Okay, then parking at Yenser and Hume.
I can't remember what that was about.
I think we discussed that, and I've seen that area. We decided
discussed
here it's not.
There's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
no,
want a handicap spot.
Okay.
right in front of our house
Yeah, we're not.
because-
Okay.
Someone down by the track.
No, yeah.
Football field.
Yeah.
okay,
So that one can be gone, but we need
okay,
to add one to
Oh.
this that we talked about.
okay.
So North Street, coming westbound at
Yeah.
158. So we had an accident there, on the last street out of town.
Right before you get to.
So, when you pull up there, if you haven't done it, you need to, because the cars that park in front of those houses, yes, which would be on the east side of the road, south of North Street, and you come up like this, you can't see anything coming down. And I've had lots of complaints, like over the years, kind of just general, like, hey, that really stinks, especially after ball practice. There's tons of cars coming out of there.
Lots of traffic.
And this was a young fella, and he said, he pulled up and he said, I was literally just inching out to see,
Right.
and she clipped the front of his car. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Not this clip, it's total.
yeah,
And it was his fault, but
yeah, and
you
that,
can't see when you pull
they
out.
have off-street parking there. The easements there, are probably pretty wide. I don't know, everybody should just take a look at it, see what they think about it, because it is dangerous. I know when I pull up, I have the same problem. Well, matter of fact, when I come down, I'll come down to where.
I was just going to say, a lot of people will go past.
What would you propose? Because I'm thinking about that view to the left. Are you thinking like just putting no parking signs kind of down a little bit south?
Yeah,
Like
Like
down.
3-4 cars down?
Yeah, maybe about the first house or so at
I think
least,
that's-
just to give a little bit of a chance to get out.
Yeah.
Um,
So they don't have to inch out and then get slammed?
yeah, I'm just throwing out, y'all can look at it and see what you think, and maybe if you want to do something, if you don't, that's fine.
No, we do need to do something about that, because those first two houses there. What I think people do is they just go past it and they go down to where, because they know it's too hard to get
People
out
that
there.
have had a problem do that,
And we're lucky there's not been more wrecks.
yeah, and go down. And it's honestly, it's the same thing when you come out past the dog grooming place.
Yeah.
When you come out there and cars are parked right up in front, you can't see anything there too. And technically, there's a footage for parking within an intersection, but once again, without the curbs being painted, nobody knows. And so that's something that's, I think it's
Biggest deal is,
I think it's way more important than people think about this curve being painted.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. It looks like we need to really look into all of our intersections and get them painted.
Well, I don't think I think we can. I think that's definitely a big deal, and where you're talking about there. Yeah, that kid did not change.
No.
Hey, new business.
I guess that would be.
Yeah. Next meeting is gonna be April 22nd, 6:30. All in favor, say aye.
Let's see. I'm trying to.
This is just for coffee. Maybe. You take one of these and pass them out.
Okay. Whenever you're ready to go.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Like those allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call.
Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
McCreary,
Present.
Phillips, Reedy,
Present.
Schaffner.
Tonight, have an approval of the minutes for March 11th, last meeting.
I've read through these minutes, and there's unsubstantiated allegations of ethics violations in them.
Okay.
And I kind of have a problem with approving the minutes with those in there as written. So there's ethics violations allegations of ethics violations in the minutes. And they're not true. And they're written into the minutes as if they're fact.
Yeah, you can be.
Meetings, held, private meetings held outside the council chambers that haven't happened, didn't happen.
Oh, I understand that, but that's what was
Said.
said, and we put what was said in there, but that's.
But they're written in here as though they happened, and now we approve the minutes, and it's, okay, it must have happened, when it didn't happen. So I don't know, Jeff, is that a problem?
You could always make a motion to amend the minutes to delete references to those allegations. So, or to clarify that they're allegations only, for the minutes to reflect that they're allegations. And if your position is they're unsubstantiated, to have the minutes reflect that.
I would just like to make a motion that we have the minutes reflect that the allegations of private meetings or meetings held not open to the public are unsubstantiated.
So can we put that in the name?
Well, what discussion?
Okay, hold on. Let me get my notes here. So we're at, I don't know where you're.
It's what I said.
Actually, Brandon also.
So do you want a disclaimer in there?
And then September.
Yes.
A clause with a disclaimer?
Okay.
So is there any other discussion on this?
Is this something we should take into executive session?
I don't feel the need to, but if
I'm gonna
someone-
be asking for one later anyway, so if you wanna do it. we can do it.
Well, if you want to address this in executive session, then I would delay a vote on this until, because you don't have to approve
these minutes here now.
Yeah, exactly. So.
We were just capturing.
I understand. I understand. I wasn't saying they were written wrong. I'm just saying that the way they're written now, it rules it into the record as if it's fact.
Can you please be specific in terms of which clause or clauses?
She believes, Schaffner said something that people were throwing in the lip. She believes there should be no more council meetings in anybody's basement, retail stores, or at the water plant. I don't know what that's about.
Have there been informal meetings at the water plant?
Not that I've been a part of, so I have no further information on that. And I don't know
Do people bring
why.
information to you at the store that should be brought to council?
No council members have, no.
No council members have. Now, here's my point. I'll say it. on
Residents come to me all the time and discuss village affairs.
Exactly, and this is one of my arguments. We can go back to 2 minutes years ago. And I specifically said it, and I believe there were issues also when Terry was here with us. And when Tim was VA. there were things that you were privy to, that you were hearing, that wasn't even being brought to the village administration so that it could be addressed.
When you say that, I guess I would need to know an example. Because before noon today, I had conversations with Peg, Tim. They just come into my store and we have.
And do you say you need to go to the village administrator?
It isn't council related, it's casual conversations.
Again, do you refer them on to the VA and say, listen, if this is something that needs to be handled?
In my defense, there is the VA right now, so.
No, but there has been prior.
Yes.
I have a recollection of, I can't remember what the issue was, but somebody had come to you and Ace Hardware and there was a problem. And whoever the village administrator at the time hadn't done anything about it. And when we asked you who was it, you were like, I'm not gonna tell. And I remember this very vividly. And we tried to get you to tell, and you said, no, I'm not gonna tell. And you didn't tell the village administrator what the problem was. And there's no way the village administrator can take care of the problem unless you tell them what the problem is.
And that's exactly what I said. I remember specifically, I can't remember, it was Tim, but I know it's somewhere in our documentation in our minutes, because I made sure that I said it.
So a person calls me as a person or a council member to tell me that the village, that they submitted blueprints and things for building permits weeks and weeks ago and have got nothing back. And that was what I reported. I don't need to say council. That was what I reported, and I don't need to say who. I didn't say who, and I don't want to say who. I just had people call me and say, I've submitted blueprints. I'm trying to get a building permit. I gave them to the village administrator. I've had conversations and I have nothing back. That was what I reported and that was what happened.
And I think what the conversation was, did you call the village administrator and find out what was going on? And the response was no.
I did not. I brought it up in a meeting.
And nothing was ever under the old administration talked about between you and the mayor, the old mayor.
What are you talking about?
Were you? Or anybody?
We're talking specifically about situations that occurred when there were conversations that happened that VAs weren't made aware of, and they couldn't fix it. It was brought up with Terry. It was also brought up with Tim. And how can they fix something if they're not made aware of it?
I don't know what you're talking about with Tim. I do know what you're talking about with Terry. It had to do with building permits. People complained to me that they had submitted them and they weren't getting the answers they needed. I am not going to out someone so that they're treated differently.
Okay, just for
they didn't want their name mentioned. I didn't mention their name. I don't feel I should have.
Just for clarification, what I said at the last meeting, I'll go through them. When I said that there should be no more council meetings at a retail shop, that's exactly what I was talking about. Because everybody, you have this group of people who comes over there and you talk, and then it doesn't get to the right source. If you're not gonna, whenever anybody complains to me, the first thing I do is get on the phone with the person who is responsible for whatever the problem was. That is the way it works. I mean, I don't understand why you would just sit on it and then come to a meeting, unless it was Brian, and complain about it.
It's not a council meeting for one. When I
was being
comes to me and says something to me about an experience they've had with the village. They did that before I was on council. They did it all, they've done it my entire career. And me, when you say, why didn't I address it with the person? I don't know how you want me to approach that. I came to the meeting.
I think we should be part of the solution, not the problem. I think council members should be part of the solution. And so part of that solution is clear communication with the administration. So if there is something happening and the village could do something about it, bringing that to the attention of whether it's the village administrator or the mayor or both, then I think that that's important.
I do it all the time. Okay. I agree 100%.
That's good.
Probably nobody brings information to council or to staff more than I do. So I do it all the time. But if you think that if a contractor calls me to complain because they're not getting their permits in a timely fashion, that I'm gonna name their name to the city of village administrator, it's not gonna happen. I will say it happened, I will say that there's a problem here and that we need to address it.
Well,
But I'm
you
not
can
gonna
see
say
it's a
so
problem,
and
but
so.
I'm not gonna tell you who it's
Well, the
about.
problem is if you do that, and then the builder goes back to the administrator, and the administrator's all angry at the builder because he said something, and he's afraid of, then how do we know the administrator's not gonna say, you're not getting out of here, we're not building?
Or causes.
I understand why, yeah. And that
Heather,
happens.
what is the step? I sent you an email about the required training on Sunshine. Whatever happened with that?
I've got a report.
We have a report, yeah.
I'll provide an update.
And I attended that when I got on council. No, I attended at the same time, I thought you. But I understand the
What kind of
requirements.
comment is that?
Well, because it has to go again, because that's the law, that at every term,
Only one person here has to go, not every single
yeah,
person.
not every single.
One person can go for all of us.
Oh, they can?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've already been. And I understand the need for it, I understand the requirements, and I have abided by it.
He won't even be on the finance committee because
I avoid, yeah.
he avoids the finance committee. You forgot that? He avoids finance committee because the town deals
I
with these
haven't
hardware.
forgotten.
Okay, so let's table the minutes and move on, shall we?
Well, we don't need a table. You can delay voting on them until later if you want to do that.
Yes, let's do that.
There's a motion to amend them, add a disclaimer, and I believe a second.
It was reading, I believe, yeah.
So it's up to council and what you want to do. Do you want to delay a vote till later in the meeting? You can do that.
I make a motion, we delay the vote on this until later in the meeting, possibly after.
I'll second it. Okay. All right, well, Grant.
Hold on.
Roll call, yeah.
Hold on. I can write so fast. Okay,
Roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Phillips,
Here. Yes.
Greedy,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Schaffner.
No.
McCreary.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, 5-1.
Yes.
Yeah, 5-1, yeah.
All right, so, next we have some visitors.
No, you gotta approve these.
I apologize.
Before we make the motion, we approve the agenda as written.
Schaffner, a second.
Okay, now.
No, I gotta have a roll call.
I'm sorry. I got a little flustered.
Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Phillip,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy.
Yes.
Now we have this.
Now we have this.
So who would like to be first to speak? Mr. King, yes, sir.
This morning I was trying to catch up on all the meetings going on and everything, because I just retired at the end of the beginning of the month, I guess, and I could never make it to these meetings. But anyway, it has to do with, and there's been some talk, but I couldn't understand it, and that's the thing, on Zoom,
Okay,
can't understand it, and I guess you guys have talked about
we're
it.
working on it, yeah.
I can hear him really good,
Don't know what.
village administrator, mostly, Rick on one of them, I could hear him real well, and then I couldn't. And I could hear Debbie, because of what you guys were just talking about. I had to put it on CC to be able to, and that doesn't interpret all the time. But it's like, it's really nice, and then if you could go on there and have a date when the meeting was, because it just says last reading or something like that, but in service, I'm looking at service and council meetings, so it just be nice.
We might have to have these mics looked at or something.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, we just,
Whatever.
Yeah, we got what, we was getting kicked off until we put that up there, so that seems to be helping now.
yeah.
So in the security system and the camera can't pick up somebody looking through the window.
When they come out, we may have them have to look at
Maybe 4 more mics.
the mics or something like that. Yes, yeah, on different mics maybe. Anyone else?
I suppose I'll speak.
Okay.
I'm Chris Welsh. I live in Lancaster. I used to work here in Baltimore. So some of you know. Hi. Myself and Robert came and we just wanted to give the council a little bit of an update on the corner building and answer any questions if you have any questions.
Well, I guess I didn't know this till afterwards, but I guess the former administrator was working on a grant, a taxpayer grant for that building. I didn't know that, so I guess it looks like we put some time into it. And did any of you know that he was working on a grant for the building across the street?
No.
What was the purpose of the grant?
The purpose of the grant is it was a matching grant, up to $1 million, it seemed like. And not for us, but the grant could be up to $1 million. And then Mr. Landis would match it with whatever. The grant was to remodel the building and to put offices in there. It would involve no retail space. But I didn't have any idea about it until this last week.
We haven't gotten too far.
Was it a problem?
Yeah, was that a problem that he was working on that?
Well, I feel, here's what I'll tell you. I think it's a good thing probably, but I will tell you this. We have bad water. We don't have streets improved. There's a lot of other more important things to work on than that. I guess that's what I came up to.
Maybe, and I'm not questioning that. I guess I wasn't going to bring this up later, but I had just actually, before I came over here, heard that somebody was told that that's why he was fired. That's why Brian was fired.
Because of that? Well, you're listening to a lot of people that's telling you a lot of bad information. I gave you a book of 12 things that
So
he
you
and I
didn't
talked
tell
about.
anybody that?
Why would I wouldn't tell anybody that. That has nothing to do.
After he was fired.
Yeah. And I didn't know. Right, I didn't know about it.
Knew about it until after.
I didn't know about it until I got in the store and looked for the things he was
Well, the
working on.
person who told me obviously knew something about it, and then he would. I can.
Well, any of that's public knowledge. Why he was fired or any of that stuff, we can go into all that. I prefer to do that in executive
I'll do
session.
an executive.
But I will tell you that this is a good thing. Just nobody knew about it. That's all.
Well, just to give you a little bit of background, and I can't speak to how much work Brian had put into what he's doing outside of what we were doing, but we have worked exploring several grants with different agencies all around, and we haven't even gotten to a point of application yet specific to the grant that Brian's speaking to. But we've been working with the county, and we have worked with the county in the past in economic development department in the county as well. You're right. What we're looking at is office space here down at the corner. We've already put well over $110,000 in the building already just in the last few years. And we're going to continue to look for grants and other economic incentives that can really push this project along so that we can get something moving. Estimates on the low end so far are over $2 million for the whole space, and on the high end over $3 million. So in order to come up with something that we can be proud of here in downtown, we are going to continue to seek grants, and we're made aware that council would like us to share the information that we have. And again, right now we don't have plans. We're really only looking into the information from our side. Brian was really just providing us folks to talk to. Again, I don't know what work he was doing outside of it, but to us, it was more of just a referral. Hey, I heard of this grant. I thought you guys might be interested. We looked into it on our own. So again, I don't know how much he did on his side, but
at one point there was some construction going on there for what was the situation?
Well, we had a potential tenant, and unfortunately that potential tenant, who is not a tenant, went a little bit too far. We asked him to stop, but on his own, a tenant went in that we had given him permission to simply clean up the space. And we were not aware that he was actually framing walls. Once we were aware of framing walls, I think it was Brian that actually stopped him. And Brian let us know that he was framing walls. And we told him no, restricted his access. So at this point, that tenant is not in the space and is not going to work in the space. So that was not approved by us. That was not authorized by us. It was a eager tenant to just kind of get in there and hope that they could get the space in a workable condition before even getting everything that he needed to get to be able to be in there. So,
question, since
Sure.
this is gonna be a public place, is it been, inspected by the county? Do we know that it's gonna be an okay building, or is it deteriorated to the point that it's not gonna work?
great question. The contractor that I've met with have said great bones. Masonry work is great. Brick's in good shape. Takes a little bit of tuck pointing that does need to be done. But it at least from the contractor that we have used in the past and that is looking at it, we've had a couple of different contractors. They think it's in great shape. So it does look, at least according to him. Now again, it's a big project. I mean, when you're looking at the low end of $2 million, there will be a lot of engineering and architecture work that needs to be done. Probably the next stage for us that you'll see will be some internal demo work that.
I get it. My question too is, when you purchased the building, did you not anticipate having enough money to do it when you bought it with your own money? I guess is my question.
I mean, I can't really speak to that.
I'm just asking. I'm not
Sure.
that
I can't speak to that. I wasn't part of the transaction, unfortunately.
Honestly, don't know why I bought it.
I think that the effort was really to clean up Baltimore. I mean, when you look at again a project that's $2 million to $3 million, I can tell you you cannot charge enough rent here in Fairfield County at those rates to be able to actually afford to finance it just simply on renting the space out by itself. But I do think Robert had the intention of fixing this building up. It's turned out to be a pretty significant investment already. And again, what you see right now is already after, not just purchasing it. That's $112,000 we've already put into it.
When you say $112,000, you mean put the new roof on?
Windows, replacement and repair work. I mean, look, we've all had it. We've had 2 or 3 huge windstorms here. We've been affected by it. So ripped off the roof a lot sooner than what we thought.
What I read on that grant is that the town would be responsible for doling out the finances of that grant.
Well, when you say doling out, I assume you're talking about being the fiscal manager.
Yes.
It could be the county, it could be the village, it could be economic development. So
our name's on it somewhere.
At this point, it's a little bit early. I mean, again, we haven't even gotten to the full application stage yet. So when we get those kinds of answers, we're happy to come back to.
Yeah, that's
if your name is on it, you're going to absolutely have to be a part of it. Again, unbeknownst to us was how much has been shared or was shared or what involvement the village was. For us, like I said, it was handed off as a referral. Hey, look into that. And that's what we've done. I mean, we've spent resources just kind of exploring, does it even make sense? And that's really all we are right now. But the village does have to be a part of the application process. So the village is going to be aware of that application when it does get submitted. It can't be submitted, from my understanding, without the village.
And that's
I'm sorry, do you know when that was started?
Oh, it hasn't been long. A month, 2 months, 2 months, maybe. I mean, I may be wrong about that, but this is really.
Was that through the Hicks?
Really very new.
The Hicks group down there in the county.
It's fun. I just wanted to.
Sure.
I would say that would be something that we need to talk about as council together. And then when you guys get some more facts, like if you had some more, I guess, exactly how they want to do or exactly what you want to do. I mean, do you think you could rent enough offices over there to Does it make sense? I guess that's my question. And like on the second floor, could you put offices on the second floor?
That is including second floor offices too. Again, until we get further along right now, I mean, if you're familiar with commercial building, we just get estimates and then they have to look into it further to narrow down. I mean, the build costs.
This is what Lancaster's doing in their downtown.
Gotcha.
Everybody in Lancaster is getting free money down.
This grant is for Van Wert has done it, Coshocton, Paynesville. The reality is all of us, small town America, we have these old buildings in downtowns that this grant is specifically designed. It's vibrant Ohio. It's designed to do exactly this, that they recognize that unless you have somebody that's simply going to donate the money, that these kinds of projects really, they can't fund themselves without some type of economic assistance of some type. Again, without a grant, without something, we can't charge enough rent for it to actually even make sense to renovate that building. Much like it's taken a long time for this building right here. That's exactly right. It's been a long time here. It's difficult, but we want to find a solution. We want to turn it around. We want to make it nice. And I think the roof and the windows, there's a lot more work that needs to be done, but it's an improvement.
And I would say, just as a person that has a love for the village, even if it's only rented at 50%, I'd rather see that than it continue to sit empty the way it does.
So just a couple questions. So specifically, we're thinking business development. So you're looking at business development as far as office space, so not residential.
The grant you're looking at is limited to office.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm just asking. Obviously, you can see everybody's looking for something to rent. So I was just asking that.
I can answer that directly. It really depends, and we won't know that answer until we get further along with the plan to truly understand what the cost is. And then also, when you go through the application process, they're going to give you an idea of what they will approve, what they won't approve, my understanding. And that's going to determine the scope of the project. Okay, agreed. I mean, space is limited. It would be nice. But
it's a great looking space, and I just am going to say, I think personally, it would really behoove the village to get that one broken window with the plywood.
Well, there's a lot of
it's
things.
just, I see that and I'm like, it's the first impression, and it's a great building, and we would love to see it. You know, let's go probably 10 years younger. But in the meantime, like even to fix like the window, because it's a building that I think really could make that intersection in the center.
Really understand. I can tell you all the way back in November, we were looking for somebody just to do roof repairs. That turned out that just kept progressively getting worse. And that just, we were begging contractors to come in. I made several calls, just trying to get somebody in, and it's taken us that long just to get that.
I'm on the board for the Opera House, so it's taken us a lot of time to get that grant money and get things.
I have a question specifically about this grant.
Sure.
So the grant has been started. Our village administrator was working on writing that grant. Since we don't have a village administrator, would your business interest be willing to hire a grant writer to pick up where they left off to proceed at pace with this?
Hicks Partners.
That's
So the county is paying Hicks Partners.
Yes, to write
On our behalf to write grants. This is how I found out about it, because I called Hicks Partners and said, what do you have in the hopper? What are you working on? So I know where we're at with these things. And that was the first I was made aware of this. This was after the village administrator left. And I just thought, oh, that's new. I didn't realize that. So Hicks and Partners are working on it. It's not coming out of our pocket at all.
No, not at all.
And that's them working with Hicks Partners. I just think that we should know that we're going to be required to fulfill if it comes to.
And there is a role that we'll have to fulfill.
If it comes to
that. So
And I can tell you, it was the county that connected us with Hicks.
Right, yeah, and that's a resource that they're encouraging us to use.
Yeah, and it's a resource we should use, for sure.
Again, I'm not aware, but I don't, it's still so early. I don't think it's an in-process grant being written currently, because they're still looking for us to provide more concrete information to them before they can even get started. So it's in our court. Now, what I would tell you is, Rick, based on your call, what they had said, I think everybody's now working together, because what they said is, please go talk to the village. We're not going to do anything until you guys talk to the village and everybody's on the same page here. So
Here's what I'll tell you about that building. I think, gosh, we could have office in there. It was clean and be great. And last summer when I was running for mayor, I heard two things about this town. The biggest complaint was the water, because the water is horrible here. The second thing was people said the eyesore in the center of the building. I heard from hundreds of people that said that same thing. And when I say eyesore, I mean kind of what Randy said. The plywood on the window and the coated paint or something. But that was I don't want to get behind something that's taxpayer driven on something that everybody's angry about. I mean, I think this is a good thing. I'm not saying that. I do think it's a good thing. I think the intentions are good. I think everything is good there. But I feel like we got to clean that building up a little bit on the outside, just so people, if we do go to the next step, that they see that there's been some kind of progress, even if it's as little as putting a piece of glass in and painting some of that peeling paint, or the Christmas lights that are on the front of the building that have been there for 15 years, taking them down. I mean, I'm just saying some stuff like that. I feel like it'd be a little stronger, because we work for the taxpayers. That's what.
Well, in absence of grant money, those buildings are not economically viable. There's a bottom line. And so for that purpose, I kind of support the grant program, because we all hate to see these downtowns go into Zombieville. But that's where they're going to go, absent grant money, to help property owners rehabilitate them. So I'm kind of neutral on it in that regard. But I do believe that it wouldn't have taken but a minute for the administrator to just mention that, hey, this is because in every meeting he's asked what's going on with that building. Not once was it said, hey, the owner's working on this grant program with Hicks Partners, and I'm offering whatever support they need from me. Yeah. And that's where we're at.
Because I think it is a good,
it took 30 seconds.
It is a good thing. I'm not saying that.
So just moving forward.
Just my investment so far isn't enough.
What do you mean?
It's not enough.
And putting $100,000 on the roof, that's not enough investment so far.
No, I'm not saying that. Not at all. All I'm saying is, I mean, when you put the roof on, I assume that was because of the storm, correct?
Not really, no.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, again, what I heard from the people that live in the village was two things: that building and the water.
So I think that the biggest thing is with commercial space, my hesitation to do anything to the front is it probably all gets redone anyways.
That makes sense.
So, because we don't know who's going to rent it, how they're going to rent it, how they're going to subdivide it all up. So, what do you do? How well do you do it? And then if you just do it halfway just to make it look good, then you just get a whole nother slew of complaints based on that.
Well, you're somewhat right about that. I agree with that.
Well, I think
Spending $100,000 on a brand new roof, that's got to say something. I hope.
Our zoning is specifically designed to keep buildings from being like rodent infested and that sort of thing. So basic zoning compliance with that building is an obligation of the building owner. So if it means putting in a window that doesn't have a hole in it so the raccoons get in there beside the restaurant and hang out or whatever, then that's just zoning compliance by the property owner. I think that's all we're asking.
Right, yeah, I'm not asking you to remodel it the way it sits.
Just board it up.
What's that?
Just board it up.
Well, whatever's
gonna
whatever-
satisfy the
yeah.
company.
Yeah, I would have to get with the girl that takes care of our code and stuff like that and see what she thinks, because we have a set of guide codes, and we'll get together on that.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Listen, this isn't, you kind of said I guess, a bad night anyways, I feel like, but I think this is a good thing. I think, and I would think that everybody here would think that to do that building is a great thing, because it's like the staple of our town, you know, and I'm not questioning your initial investment or the roof or anything. When you have, you know, if my roof blows off my barn, I gotta pay for another one. It's just the way it is. Or if my house needs paint, I gotta paint it. And it's the same thing on a commercial building, I would think. So, I mean, that's just.
Yeah, I'd say I was a little caught off guard that it seemed like there was a hesitation to support it based on, well, we need to put a little bit more money.
No.
I need you to put more money in
No.
before I would support it.
Saying that. I'm saying it's just, let's face it, if you look at all the buildings, it's not the best one that we have right downtown. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I inherited that building. You know, I inherited those problems.
Right.
I didn't create those problems.
Nope, I didn't. No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
And the next stage that you will see is going to be some demo work. So,
Okay. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, I'm not speaking for everyone here for sure, but I feel like the majority of us are on board to do something like that. It can definitely be a good thing if it's done properly and it's done by the book. That's all.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely. And it's not the first grant we've looked at, by the way. So
Sure.
I mean, we've looked at others, but this one doesn't.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What do we need from the county, or is this?
No, we don't need anything. It's really just information explaining what's going on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can share contact information with others. I think what would probably help us out would be maybe a point of contact, because we don't know who that is.
Yeah.
It might be a little difficult if it's different people. So
I would tell you the point of contact's me right now. We're actively looking for another administrator, and when we get one, obviously that would be the person that would be the point of contact.
And then at the moment, I think Hicks Partners haven't given everybody's contact email address, but
Right.
I think everybody will get like every 2 weeks getting an update from Hicks Partners.
Yeah, I gave them.
I don't know why they're not getting that, why they didn't already have that. But
Yeah, they have everybody's, Dick's Partners has
and
everybody's.
this used to be a regular like news,
Yes.
every 2 weeks update
Yes.
news brief.
Yes. Well, Robert, I don't want you to leave here and not feel like, I mean, we want to do this.
So,
I mean, I
hope so.
don't know why. I want to make sure is there any other questions that you feel unsure about, or? Okay.
No, just
All right, yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
That's that, man.
I don't think he wants to speak. He doesn't want to speak.
Nope. You guys?
No, he doesn't. He's here to listen.
Okay.
If you want to speak.
No.
Okay, so, we're gonna go into village administration reports. I guess that would start with me, and I'll combine mine with the village administrators. Some of this we talked about in the service and safety meeting, but I have a list of things that I just want to go over with everyone. One of the things that was brought up earlier was about the taking of the classes, and Jeff's going to go over that in more detail with us. The Washington Street water project is going good. The paperwork for the Market Street project has been filled out and has been submitted with the B3 for to do a big water project. Sure, we're probably 6 months or a year away from hearing anything about it, but it did get submitted.
You're talking about congressional discretionary?
Yes, it was submitted. We had
That was one of my questions.
we had to do a couple things different and come up with some letters and some things, and we achieved all that. We did get approval for Gordon Street Water Project to start in late summer, early fall. We did get approved, and I'm sure Jeff will go over this too. We were approved $200,000 on the grant for the Johnson Park, but that also includes the money that we used to purchase it. $200,000 was it. I don't think that we'll see. I think it'll be October before, am I correct in that?
Or November.
Or November before we really. So as far as any construction, anything of subsequence over there, it will be at least then. I did meet with the land grant people on the house. They did an asbestos test on it, and it looks like it's coming back. They got 2 more days, and we will. That is a different grant than the grant for the Johnson Park. It's a land grant to tear the house down and to remove the shrubs. So if that goes right, they could be tearing that house down in the next 2 to 3 weeks, along with cleaning up all the shrubs. And that's all that's going to get done with that this year.
I'm sorry. So the land bank is going to tear the house down?
Yes.
Yep. And they're going to do even a little bit more things. So that's a good thing. They're going to, when they get done, the foundation will be nothing there. It'll be grassed. My intentions or my thought on that would be to have our street department that does the grass clean that whole lot up and cut the grass just like we do at the park, at least for this summer, so to make it look, nice. Also, Brian brought to my attention that we had money left on a grant for the pool, for our splash pad and some other things to do with the pool. I did find somebody that does splash pads, and I'm going to get some more details on that because we have to spend that money by the end of the year, and I believe it's around $86,000.
Well, yeah, we got 20,000 a couple years ago to buy umbrellas and benches and stuff like that to put around the pool, which that still needs to be done. Then the other portion of the grant was supposed to be a splash pad, and then maybe fix up the entryway.
Remodel the entryway.
Yeah.
Yep. So I am working on that. I did meet with Ken Munger the other night, and for the last zoning meeting, it was kind of a disaster because it was on me because of the letting Brian go. We didn't have an administrator. We were working on a garage project that I think that we're having a special meeting for, and we may need to change that, Randy, so that we have all the people that we need here to get that pushed through for the guy.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah,
we will.
That's scheduled for.
It's scheduled for the 8th, and I know some of us we're going to be out of town because it's the eclipse, and so I'll be heading up to that.
Well, no, it was a public hearing that we're having.
The 8th?
It's the 8th. It's It's a council meeting. It's 15 minutes before the council meeting.
Yeah.
I will be here.
And a public hearing.
Yeah, it's a public hearing. That's already been put in the newspaper. It'll appear.
There's not enough hours in the day for that.
The next thing that I had was I did meet with the tree commission. Obviously, Steve was here and went over that they got that grant approved, and they have great ideas and great things. That's been the highlight of the last 4 months for me, is meeting with them. In front of you, you have plans, an informal meeting with the developer on east of town on 256. It was very informal. They were here. We had Tim, we had Eli and Scott here. So we talked about some things about it. They made a kind of this is what we'd like to do. The one thing that we made very clear to them is that we're not looking for, the problem with Sleepy Hollow. I'll just bring this up because they're coming back here Wednesday at 1:00. What happened with them is they were under the impression that we were going to waive the tap and water fees on 178 houses. And when I got that phone call, I said, no, we're not. And when I said that, I don't want to ever speak for all of you, but when I said that, I said, well, you have to come to council. And long story short, then he said, well, we might not come and build houses there. And I said, whatever you want to do, their problem is the $1.2 million that's going to cost to go into the railroad tracks. And that's just the cost of doing business. And as far as tap fees go for sewer, we are like one of the cheapest in Ohio. at $7,000 for the water and the sewer. So that amount of money, when we talked to the developer the other day, he kind of grinned, he goes, well, that's pretty inexpensive, because I said, I made it very clear that we're not interested in waiving any fees and doing any of that. They're going to put something together for us, and that is going to be, they will come to a council meeting. So, because they are very eager, I think that's also on Mr. Landis's name, to meet with us. No. Okay. Oh, no, I'm talking about the guys, these guys, the one that we met with the other day.
Oh, okay, I thought you were still talking about Liberty Ridge. Okay.
No, Liberty Ridge, they're gonna come back, I think, and give us another proposal for me to give council about how much they're looking to, that they were willing to pay. I don't know why it is what it is, but I'm still gonna talk to them. Yes.
So we have these 3 developments. And we've got the one out there by the church, we've got Liberty Ridge, and what's this one? This one's the one out at
256, yeah.
So, is it the old Hackers property?
Yeah. So where are we with all this stuff?
Well, we're not, right now, we're not anywhere. We haven't come up with I think the guys at Liberty Ridge thought that they were just gonna roll through and we were just gonna say, yeah, but we won't charge anything.
Yeah, no.
So we have to redo all that.
It's all in their court, basically.
Well, so whatever we do at Liberty Ridge or whatever,
Right.
we have to do with all 3 of them.
Yes.
We can't
Well,
change the rules.
and Gar and I have been attending meetings with the county because
Right.
only 2 council members can go to those.
Right.
And then during the day.
We encouraged council to go to the last trustees meeting, and we're encouraging the council to go to the next trustees meeting.
Which is
we'll be
next
talking
Monday.
about it again.
Yes.
They have advertised that we will be there so that we can talk about a development agreement between the township and the village, whereby all of these developments will get additional property and possibly income taxes on the people who buy properties in those developments. And those additional taxes will be divided as however we negotiate.
You and the Liberty.
Us and the trustees.
Got it.
A portion to the village, a portion to the trustees, a portion to the fire, and a portion to the school. Now, all those percentage of things have not been discussed yet or worked out yet. But what that also does then is allows us to put portions of Liberty Township that are not contiguous with the village into that same agreement where we would get the same revenues,
Right.
even though we don't provide sewer and water, even though it's not contiguous, it's a part of our agreement. But that's what the trustees are offering. In order for us to offer contiguous land,
Right.
they're offering non-contiguous land to be a part of the same agreement. These agreements and big talks are in the very early stages, and we aren't even talking to Walnut Township yet. Ackers is in Walnut Township. So, our intention is to hash out this deal with Liberty Township and the village,
And then hash it out.
and then turn around and take the same offer to Walnut Township. And hopefully the township's gonna take the same offer to other villages that are on the bordering Liberty Township. And so it's all still in flux, but I'm reluctant to move to even allow any of these developers to go forward until we hash that out with the township. Now, Liberty Ridge is a little different. It's already in town. Whereas the one out here would be annexed in order to get our utilities.
Well, and then we.
So it's a little bit of a different situation with Liberty Ridge than it is with that. And the one over here is already in town as well.
Yeah. What's
So-
the name of that guy? I forget.
Over behind the Methodist Church, Robert Landis.
No, what's the name of the felony?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, there is, and I can't remember.
I can't even.
Did you say there's a meeting next Monday?
Next Monday.
Next
yes.
Monday, we're at the township hall at 6 p.m. And they really, really want all of us to be.
Yeah, and that's a public meeting, so we can all attend, and that will explain this partnership that we want to do.
And whatever we hash out down there with the county, with the meetings that Gar and I are going to, has to come before council.
Yes, none of that is.
It isn't, how we get there, we can't all be in without making every single meeting a public meeting. But in order to implement it, absolutely has to be done by all of council in a public meeting. And I would even say go through 3 readings for sure.
And didn't Ricketts, Attorney Ricketts say, if any of this comes to be, that different tax assessments could be made on those
developments. Right.
That's
And
what
we,
you were talking
in
about.
addition, Baltimore proper could stay the way that, right, it's additional money and everything else, but we get revenue.
Absolutely.
So that's if you're,
One way to view this, kind of like an elaborate HOA,
right,
private HOA. So
that's the way they explain. Yeah. So that's where we're at on that. So if there's any interest, next Monday, at the township hall. I did meet with Amanda tonight, the girl that was doing code enforcement last summer. I'm very interested in doing it again this year. So we talked about cover in the budget, because grass is going to start growing and there's going to be things that needs to be addressed. And she's meeting with me next Monday, and we're going to get have her start going out and doing some of that. I did put a ad in for the replacement for the administrator on the government website.
It's through OML.
What's that?
OML.
Okay, thank you. And let's see here. Last but not least, I did get a grant that I was working on. It's not a matching grant from the town, but to do some updating on the softball fields at Johnson Park. So that's something that's down the road, but I am working on it. That's all I have. If the fiscal officer wants to give his report.
Brandy, just so there's no confusion, on the 8th, so the 8th is going to be finance and then rules, and then we're going to have a public hearing at 6:45, 15 minutes before council. And that's the public hearing is for Jeff.
An application filed by the Spitzline property owners to have their acreage declared to be agricultural. Yes, to have it declared agricultural. So offers them some protection. They've been served with a notice of the public hearing, and it's my expectation that they would be here to offer more details on that and to answer any questions that the village may have as to why they want to do that and that sort of thing. So,
is that going through our planning and zoning and all
no,
that?
it doesn't have to. Yeah, and it's a separate process, folks, on
Okay.
that application. So it does have to come to the village. Village council does have the ability to approve it or reject it or request modifications to that application. And then once that occurs, then the county reviews it and gives its blessing.
And the only other thing is I'll be attending the local government officials conference this week, starting on Wednesday. So that's Wednesday through. So that's the only thing I had to report.
Okay. So I guess the next report would be yours, Brian.
I just gave my report.
Okay, just a couple things, follow up on topics that the mayor brought up. One is the public records training. And all elected officials and re-elected officials are required to complete that training. It's 3 hours, it's every term. You can utilize an appropriate designee. So one of you could say, I'll be the designee for anybody who's required to complete that training this term. Mayor's also required to complete that training. It can be done online. So it's 3 hours. You can do it from the comfort of your home or office or wherever you want to do that. In the past, Brian has been the appropriate designee, but it's been a number of years since he has completed that on behalf of any council members. So the options for council is to either one, complete it yourselves, everybody complete their own, and then that satisfies the requirements of that compliance section. Another option is to designate one of you, if you decided to do that, as your designee and let them complete that. And the instructions look pretty straightforward on the Attorney General's website. So if you decide you want to go that route, then whoever the designee is will have to register everybody that they're taking that course for. So it's just important to keep in mind in the future that that does have to be done by council members and the mayor every term. So either by them or on their behalf by whoever they designate to do that. So it sounds like some of you have already completed that for the current term. Previous term. Okay. So my review of that is there's no penalty section to it, but it's still a requirement. I mean, the compliance has to be shown. So, it needs to be done by whomever, however you folks decide you want to do that. So that's it on that one.
Is it possible for you to email us?
I did a memo. Did you get the memo I sent out asking you to distribute to all council members?
I don't recall that.
Okay, it just came through today.
Oh, why?
So,
okay.
So there's a link there for you to go online and check that out and see what the instructions are and what the requirements are and everything like that.
If you said
you were on current term and she was on current term, but I was on
But that's not the same thing when we went to the Ohio.
I contacted the Attorney General's office to get a clarification about that, and they said they don't represent citizens. So I
Don't represent citizens.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. And so I gave up on that pretty quickly. I don't know. I think though that we went to that counts. I think.
Oh, okay. The one that we went.
Yeah.
We all went to.
yeah, through OML a couple years ago that we yeah.
And for me, that would have been previous term. For the two of you, would have been current term.
Correct.
Okay, so but if you don't get the memo for whatever reason, I'll forward it to you.
Well, if you send it to me, I'll forward it on.
Okay, that's fine. So, and then as the mayor also indicated, the village received tentative confirmation or conditional approval of the grant application. It was roughly for 50% of the monies that were requested in the application. Because the village was able to add in the acquisition cost, which was $120,000, which has already been paid, and the village owns that parcel. But in adding up all of the proposed improvements to that property, including demolition, because we weren't certain whether or not the cost of demolition were going to be paid for by the land bank, and estimated costs on all of the improvements. So the shelter house, walking trails, bathrooms, all that sort of stuff. How they determined that only 50% was justifiable, I have no idea. I reached out to Hicks Partners for clarification, and they aren't certain either on how that determination was made. But 50% is still $203,000 in some odd cents. So, but it's a slow process, and the way it works is additional documents have to be submitted by ODNR on the village's behalf to the National Park Service. There's so many entities involved in this grant application. So, and then the anticipated final approval is expected at the end of October or 1st of November. So, but it looks good at this point. But we've received information indicating that we should not move forward with any improvements at this point. So until we receive confirmation that the grant monies are received. So, and that's it on that. And then there's one new piece of legislation, which is the resolution to approve the creation of an agency fund for the Bicentennial Commission. We meaning Brian and I discussed this and included emergency language just in case, because we don't know what the time frame is for donations to start being sent in or being made. So it sounded like sooner better than later, because the village has to, once that resolution is approved, has to send it to the state auditor's office, correct, Brian? Okay, for final approval of the creation of that fund. But we're complying with their language on what they've requested in the resolution. And I believe that's all I have.
On that, resolution, I think that it's okay to not do it as an emergency, just go ahead and go through the 3 readings right now. But then if something comes up, we're on second reading, or third reading, if we have to do the emergency language.
Yeah, that's fine. That's up to you folks. That's absolutely fine.
Jeff, when I sent you the stuff about the park grant, it said something about something being submitted by April 12th. What was that all about? Another application? Was it that park stuff?
Yeah, but that's being done on our behalf by ODNL.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nothing we have to do.
Okay. That's what I didn't quite understand. I thought,
Okay,
that's all I have.
so village committee reports.
Yes, Mayor, the finance committee did not meet tonight, and we will meet the second Monday, which is April 8th at 6 o'clock.
Service met this evening. We did talk about what was going on with the projects for wastewater, water. Next meeting is going to be next month on the 22nd at 6 o'clock.
Safety net, we talked about parking on Mill Street, table Basel, talking about some more, intersection problems over, 158 North Street. We heard from the nice lady that lives at the corner of Boulder and 256, and discussing, or looking into that. And our next meeting will be,
22nd. Rules.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear. I forgot to go to the meeting again tonight. We did not meet tonight. Next meeting is going to be April 8th on finance.
Okay. Next one. Police chief.
Yes, so on my report there, as you see, Dallas, K9 had another good bust over his last tour, and we don't they call them deployments. It's not written here, but anytime you get the dog out, they call it a deployment, and you kind of see what your record is. So right now he's 100%, so that's pretty good. So 2 for 2, but so we'll try to keep that going. And the big thing to bring to this, I think, in my opinion, is that it's people from outside that are bringing it here, and both those were Perry County people that were bringing it here and got stopped here. So that's a good thing there. And he's doing great PR work on a lot of stuff. He's really good with that. And Dallas just loves being petted, so that even helps bet more. So it's a good thing. Ops remodel's going well. The painting's just about complete. The electric's all done. The flooring is going to be next Monday. And I install trim after that, and then that'll be all done. And I'll invite you all down to take a look at it. Everything except the flooring has been done by us, because the money was just
Every Sunday.
Yeah. 7 hours yesterday. Yeah. But anyway, it's going well. Still working on some cruiser donations. We got 3 in the works. I don't know which one's going to come to fruition. The way my luck usually works, I get nothing, or I'll get all of them, and then we'll have these 3. So, but and that's mainly just so we can dedicate one to the dog, where they put the kennel in the back. It's built in, and so because right now Dallas sits in the back with his head like this because he can't sit up straight, so he has to get him out more and work him a little bit more. But anyway, it's going well. We're participating in the Easter egg hunt on Saturday at Johnson Park, which you probably may or may not know from Now Church puts that on now. Spring breaks this week, so we have 3 extra officers on the road. As somebody mentioned earlier, I said you can't throw a stick without hitting a cop this week, so they're all over the place. And I finished up my 40-hour new Chiefs training from Opana, which is even if you've been a chief before, you still have to go through it. So, but there was some good stuff in it and some not so good stuff in it. But
a lot of it is just it's just coming off of you. Like,
One thing that he Jeff, that we had discussed while he was at training is they should be on the records commission too. I mean, he should be. Cause they have records down there too, that they can.
The state just thought, they said, you guys probably produce as many records as the whole rest of the village does in themselves, you know what I mean? So just to make sure that everything's on, it doesn't necessarily matter to me, but they feel like it is, I don't know.
You're not a required party in the ORC, but there's nothing that prevents you from being named as a member of that committee. So.
Their point was just that they said, you know, you should be at least involved in the say of how long certain records of your place may be kept or not, or what to do or whatever. I said, look, I just asked him who was on the committee. That's how this conversation got started. But so there's some stuff like that. A lot of First Amendment stuff. I mean, a ton of First Amendment stuff. Because that's a big thing now, you know, with these First Amendment auditors and things like that. If you don't know what that is, Google it and watch some of them. And that's about it. Any questions for me? Is there anything that you would like to see on the report specific that I can put on there that anybody wants to see? Because sometimes it's hard to just, you know, we took a barking dog report or whatever. I just want to make sure I cover what you would like to hear. If there's something specific that you want to hear, let me know, and I'll put it on there. That's it.
Okay, our district board.
Yeah, the joint Belleville Fire District met on the 18th at 6:10. As you know, the levy passed by only about 56 votes, but it passed. So the permanent budget for the year is going through. They have a new medic coming that was ordered like 2 years ago. It's finally mostly finished. We should get it sometime this year. The next meeting is I think April 18th at 6 o'clock at Station 610.
And the village committees and commissions, planning and zoning. We're going to meet again. I have to call Kenny to see exactly when that. Yeah.
Well, it meets on what's the second Thursday?
Yeah, it's the second Thursday.
Yeah.
There was another reason because he said.
Yeah, and that's why. But I got to call him and see what. I'm pretty sure it's on the 8th, but I will get back with you. Yes. Tree commission. I went to their meeting and they have a lot of good ideas and they got that grant. I think we're going to see a lot of good things out of that. Records commission. I know what there's talk about the records commission. And then Debbie, would you like to say anything about the bicentennial?
Yeah, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. We're still, the main thing right now is getting the budget together. It's adding up quite a lot, but we're just going to have to look at it and see what we can do. I had a question for Brian Bibler. How much does something have to cost to require bids?
The new law is $75,000.
I was a little worried about if we got a gazebo because it'll be expensive.
Yeah.
So I told the guy that we met with last Saturday that I didn't know if we were going to have to get bids or not. And I think that's really all. Next meeting is April 21st at 3 p.m. at the Baltimore Museum. And then, can I go ahead and make a motion?
Yeah.
I had a question. That fund that you're setting up, will it require bids and bid exceedance?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The fund that you're setting up for the Bicentennial Commission, would it require bids and bid exceedance?
No, but that's the bidding threshold.
Right.
I mean, you can go out.
That fund from the Bicentennial Commission.
They can spend the money however they want. Yes, but.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I thought since the village was technically.
No,
what the resolution is, I'm just a holding.
Okay.
For you.
Okay, cool.
For them.
All right, can I make the motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive committee to discuss a personnel issue.
Sure.
It's everybody at the table.
Okay. After regular.
Yeah, yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
After the regular business is concluded? We have two ordinances, so I mean, normally we do it at the end of the minute.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. For two resolutions.
Yes, so the first reading of resolution.
We need a second.
We gotta have a second.
On the executive,
Yes.
we need a second.
I'll second that.
How can we go to the?
No, we gotta have a roll call. Schaffner,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Reedy,
Sure.
Foreman,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So, first reading of resolution 2024-05. Resolution establishing an agency fund for the Bicentennial Commission and a declaration of an emergency. But we don't have to do an emergency, right?
You do not.
So we'll
Well,
just do the first
We
reading.
need a sponsor first.
Debbie, you want to be the sponsor?
Sponsor.
Yes.
Well, I think though, regardless if it has emergencies, it would go into effect right away.
Okay.
So we leave it in, you don't have to pass it as
Okay.
emergency.
So we're done with that?
No, I think, continue for the second reading then?
When I thought, I understood she wanted to go, Debbie indicated it can go to at least a second.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Okay,
There's not gonna be anything paid out the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
Oh.
so you want to go to the second reading then?
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Okay, then there's a second reading on another ordinance.
Okay, this ordinance is to amend, chapter 1042 of the cemeteries, local codified ordinances, to update the fees to allow for, village employees to get the same rate as residents. And I believe we are going to also include in this changing the language as to when overtime rate will kick in from 3:30 to 2:30 with the same ordinance. And I believe we're going to amend this ordinance to change the hours of, rated time.
Let me get. Jeff, what they're proposing is amending it, so.
And this can stay on for 30.
As soon as I find it here. Here it is.
Seems to be, they want to go off it, they want to amend it.
Oh, okay.
Sure. So. They'll have to. They don't have to.
Do a motion
Do a
to
motion.
amend the ordinance to include this
Yeah.
language, yeah. Can you do that?
Yeah, so form like make a motion to amend the ordinance to include the changing of the hours for overtime burials to align with, village staff hours from 3:30 to 2:30.
So I'm sorry again, what time, sir?
3:30 to 2:30.
3:30?
Overtime, instead of overtime kicking in at 3:30, it will now kick in at 2:30. Okay. And I need a second.
I'll second.
Do we need to vote on that?
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy.
Yes.
I'll make that amendment.
Okay. We have the third reading of nothing. There are no tabled ordinances. Old business.
I don't know if this is old business or new business, but the whole road project, Jeff. This is what we think that we need to send Roger Woods, to get his easement, sign up on easements.
And he said he would.
And yes, he'd be happy
A 20
to.
foot easement across the back of all those properties off of Roger Woods as well.
Yeah, that's it.
20 foot.
20 foot and it in the right of way that he has to go back to that.
Right.
And what that'll do, it'll give the trucks and things the
Access.
ability to be able to
Get in and
just
out.
get in on the properties and And he'll, if you just send him that,
Well, B3 is working on an updated legal description and map showing this. So I just got an email. Yeah, I just got an email from them earlier today, and they indicated they're working on this because I don't actually have to, but we should attach those documents to the easement that we're going to send him so he's aware of exactly the location of the easement he's granting to the village. So. So that's in the works. It's being worked on, and then another of the properties
yes,
is
and Roach.
We still have one person that hasn't responded yet, and then there's one property owner that requested the modification of the easement location, and B3 is working on that also. So
And so
I think that's the Spencer
The
property.
Spencer.
Yeah.
What's the turnaround? I mean, are we working on another year? I mean, what's happening?
I don't think so. It's moving along. Easement wise, it's been moving along real quickly.
Yeah, I think we're just kind of waiting for all these to get done.
Yeah,
To get it started.
so, yeah.
The only variable roads.
Yes. Yeah, at this point, that's my understanding also. So everybody else is either signed off or indicating they will once the updated documents are made. So, and then I believe that somebody was going to reach out to the Roaches to see if they could talk to them.
Yeah, Mr. Kenny was gonna help, and then Roger said he was gonna try and get ahold of him.
Okay. Good. And this is mine to hold on to. Great.
Okay, any new business?
Yeah, again, it was kind of old, but after our conversations, I mean, we'll just go ahead and make it new business. Yeah, yes, but last time you get all the information on cruisers and how that all works and so the state contract for the Ford Explorers, just like we have now, with kind of a standard package is 48,000, and with an extra wiring mod that is undetermined when we would need or not, that would be 50. So it's a $2,000 option for that. For the equipment, I got two quotes. When you're talking to these people about things, like they don't quote exactly the same thing sometimes, because like one may quote a certain light bar they call a standard one, and the other ones will quote a different one, but the monies might be a little bit different. They're not vastly different. One is a bigger company that does a little bit more stuff. Theirs was like 13,600 for install, and the other one was it's called 10,900. We call it 11,000. So those would be the numbers we're looking at. Those are, which is interesting because the guy I called, if you remember the last time I said, he goes somewhere between 60 and 65 is what we see average, and that's right where these are coming for these. So I did talk to Ford Credit people. They've been doing this same setup, she said, for 39 years. Ford's done this. Basically what you do, or how it works with this is you can get 2 to 5 year loan, and you can make monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually payments, whatever you do. She says a lot of people, and I don't know this, Brian, and y'all probably know it better than me, with like twice a year when you get your tax payment or something that you get.
Like there's a time when the town's flush with cash, I guess is what
She said a lot of people just line that up with that, and then they just make that payment.
That's not an issue. We've done annual payments. We get the existing ones. We have two payments a year.
Yeah, and she said that's probably the most common is to do the 2 payments a year. She says, but we don't really care. So,
how far out if you order one is it?
Well, it's like 9 months.
Yeah,
and that's being generous,
right?
I mean,
so if you ordered one now, you don't have to pay for anything. You just order it, correct?
Yeah, right. No, the process, it's kind of just like anything else. They spell out, you go through the Ford dealer, then the dealer sends the information to Ford Credit, or I call it Ford Credit. They probably have a fancier name for it than that, but and then once you get the build date and that kind of stuff, then it progresses through the system like that.
What Ford dealership did you contact?
This was Riker.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
and they do a ton of them, obviously, because they're just
That's
a
what I was
huge
gonna
deal. It's state contract, so it doesn't matter where it goes. The price is the same.
Just a question. I know that we have Dallas now. Is there anything special that he's gonna require as far as a canine unit?
No, we with the cars that we're getting, we're going to be able to outfit those. Like I said, I've been able to swipe some stuff from different people. I've got the canine insert for the cars we have. I have one of those that was given to us. So if we get a car of these ones that I'm trying to finagle, if we get one that's already set up as a canine car, we will just use that one as a canine car. If we get one that we can use as an SRO car, then I'll take one of our existing ones and put this equipment that's already been donated to us in that car. So he'll be set up with what he needs. So,
and actually, do we owe money on the cars that are salvage title? No, because those are the two that we should obviously fish out first.
Yeah. So we don't need anything necessarily, and now they can finance the build of the car, the 10 or 13,000. Let's just say it's 13 for the argument. If you get that done at the dealer and put that into the thing, you can finance that.
We should. That's a better way to do it.
Well, however, you're paying. There's two things. You're paying interest on your installed equipment, and here's the other kind of worst problem. Well, no. If we get it done at par, the warranty will go with it. Disregard that. That was something a little bit different. But so it doesn't matter to me, obviously, how you all would want to do it if you do want to do it. But those are just the ins and outs of it. So, like I said, you might as well just call it 65 for the sake of argument and say that that's the figure that you'd be looking at. So,
to me, that install requires a lot of cutting into the electronics of the vehicle.
Yeah.
I personally would rather have it included by the dealer,
Yes.
dealer warranties, as
Well,
opposed to trying to do it aftermarket.
well, the dealer doesn't do that or warranty that. The company like Par Safety Equipment is probably the largest installer in the state for that stuff. It's over in Galloway.
That's what you should do.
And like they do all Fairfield County cars, they do all
Shares.
Yeah. So BNC Communications down Chillicothe is the one that we used to do our last new build. They're the ones that's 10,000 versus 13. But either one is adequate for what we want to do. Riker uses Par as their kind of install. So, like I said, you can, it's very easy for them, I guess, because that's who they work with.
I think that they did all of Fairfield County sheriffs.
They do.
Yeah,
Everyone.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So at this point, we just got to figure out, and we should talk about this at the next meeting. We're ready to order a car. I mean, it's that far out. We need the thought of these guys driving around as a salvage title car. I can't believe we did that to begin with, and they need a new car. We need to start filtering these out, and then the money that we're going to save in repairs.
Yeah, we've spent I don't know,
A lot of money.
this year already, and we're in.
Well, last year you spent your whole budget in the first 3 months. We had to.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing is these cars, as they come in new, they're under warranty.
Yeah.
So if something breaks, take the Ford dealership to fix. I mean,
and the cars. I guess I failed to mention when you do that, they do it as technically a lease, but there's no mileage, no restrictions, no anything. And after you've paid, which is kind of weird, when you've paid it off, you pay $1 and then you get the car.
That'd be a capital lease. So
yeah,
it's a capital lease.
And they also mentioned something in there about, which I'm sure probably was more to Brian than anything about, it's not that there's a clause in there for appropriations clause or something.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't, that helps villages out, whatever that does. Like I said, it's something I don't understand because I've never dealt with it, but it's a clause that's in there.
Basically, they were just saying
they tout it a lot.
There's probably a clause similar to what Jeff does on other legislation that, hey, I'm certifying there's money available to pay for this.
Yeah, it's something to do with, so, yeah, later on, you don't have the problems. You don't have to appropriate the money every year for the 5-year lease because of it being a lease, something to that effect.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you the exact verbiage. I just
Okay.
can't remember what it is, but that's, like I said, it's one of those, it only benefits the village to have that, and they make that a point to, actually, I've got it right.
Well, you don't.
You can give it to me later.
Yeah, I need to. But anyway.
So we need to, the next meeting, I think, bring this up and then just say, I assume we'd make a motion and vote. And if it passes, we just order a car, correct?
Does it have to go through finance first?
I'm asking, I'm not telling.
I've never went through the state. I mean, we're members of the cooperative purchasing program. I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We are a member of that. I don't think we've ever. I mean, we've utilized them to get rates for our internet and that kind of stuff, or cell phones. But I don't think actually physically buying like a vehicle from. I don't think we've ever done anything like that.
Well, we have prior, just
since I've been here.
no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because we used to always do that. We would go to the dealer that it used to be like a certain dealer got like the contract for the state,
Right.
And then we would go to that dealer, and it might be Cleveland.
Basically,
we don't have to buy the car there to get the contract price. So
Basically, the state did the bidding for us. We don't have to bid for it.
Right.
But my recollection is we've always done legislation.
Yeah, we've had to do yes.
So I would say we would definitely do that in the next council meeting, if we can just make that on the agenda for next time for sure.
Well, that'd be part of finance problem.
Yes. So we're gonna, if you want to go into executive session, do we do that now?
I'm gonna do visitors last call.
Yeah, anything,
They're gonna
any of the
leave
visitors
anyway.
have to? Nope, okay. All right. Well,
I
thank
have the
you.
last call. Are we doing last call?
Not yet.
Or you wanna wait?
But I say we wait on last call because there may be a motion.
Might change after this.
Yeah, exactly. And there's still a motion floating around out there that hasn't been voted. But visitors will have to be excused.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I assume if I stop the video and mute. Oh wait.
I think the supervisor could just attend the meeting.
So I'm going to stop the video and mute at 8:27.
That stops the recording.
Yes, it stops the video, stops recording.
So how do we start the executive?
Okay,
That is one.
we're,
This is coming up.
we're reconvening at 8:43.
Okay. All right, so we'll reconvene.
We were back on the record, but.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, we don't have to record it.
Yeah. So just to make sure I understand, so there was a motion, to,
Add a disclaimer.
amend the minutes, to add a disclaimer, correct?
To basically reiterate that the allegations made are unsubstantiated.
Okay.
I would like to insert
Okay.
allege
After
Okay. You want the minutes to, where are we
I
at?
got the minutes pulled up.
Okay, where are you at?
So it's, after 10 minutes. After the executive session reconvened, there's a bullet point, and then the next, and then the next paragraph, she
Mhm.
believes there should be no more council meetings in anybody's basement. I would like to insert the word alleged.
Alleged,
Yeah, council,
where?
more, there should be no more alleged council meetings.
Alleged, alleged.
Yeah,
Okay.
no more alleged council meetings.
Okay,
I think that may satisfy.
Yes.
okay.
And you're supplementing what Rick's motion is, or you proposing that?
Rick made the motion to
Okay.
amend.
Yeah.
he's defining.
I'm just helping Rick
To
to,
vote on the amendment.
Okay. Well, they can tweak it. So,
Okay.
All right, so now do we need to vote on
Are
that?
you clear what they're doing?
So you want me to
So is that a
say,
second on my
Yes.
motion? then?
yeah,
I made a motion to amend the minutes as directed by Wade to add the word alleged prior to council.
so you want to say she believes there should be no more alleged council meetings?
Yes.
yes.
Is that it? Okay,
Need a vote.
add
Makes a
disclaimer
motion that we pass the minutes as amended.
as amended. Now you need to go to as amended. Reedy seconded, okay. All right. Okay, vote, Foreman,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
McCurry,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Fischoffner,
No.
Okay.
5-1. Well, I'll make that change.
Okay.
It's okay for me to have him sign the minutes as amended at,
Yes.
when he comes in this week.
So we have to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Well, no, wait, I have a last call.
Oh, last call.
So this is just something I want to tell everybody because I don't think it's out enough. There is a nonprofit in Pickerington that's called Lawn on Us. They offer free lawn cuts to senior citizens.
Yes, they're really good boys too. The guys are.
I think it is an awesome thing. And I don't think it's getting publicity, and they could use some donations to help them.
What is that kid's name? He's from Baltimore.
I don't know.
Yes, I need to look
How
into
can you
that.
do that for free?
They do.
It's a-
He
Well,
does.
it's a nonprofit, so they
They
get
take
donations.
I'll get with Kelly and maybe we'll put something on our page. for
That'd be
donations.
great.
Yes.
Okay,
They're gonna do my lawn, but I told them I would like pay them. I just don't, I can't afford to pay a whole lot, but you know, I can pay some, and that would help them too.
speaking of website,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention in my report, I posted the unclaimed funds list on the website. Finally developed a process on how to get that, so that's up and running.
Yeah.
What's
What's
the
the
definition of?
Now we need a
It
motion.
has an A
Now we
on
need a
there, and I
motion to
can't
adjourn.
remember. If you look at the
McCurry moves to adjourn.
McCurry.
Oh, set forward seconds.
Have to vote on that.
No, we can do
Just do
it.
it.
All in favor?
All right, where's the- Thank all of you.